Hey, another day, another vlog. So starting today with, when you think about prismatic identity, which color comes to your head? So this is a good question, but I will say that prismatic identity comes where we can try to define the small difference between what we want, what we don't, what we really need, what we don't need, and things like, should I go this way, should I don't do that? Like, I give you a real example. Like, I am a diabetic, so the time that I need to take my insulin, it's because probably I had intake so much carb, sugar, whatever, that it can affect my insulin levels, right? So in order to have good control, I have to make my choices. So prismatic identity is that personalities that comes to play when you're trying to talk to yourself what you should do. Do you really need to take that sugar now? If you do, you're going to have to take insulin, right? Do you really need to buy that car right now? If you do, you have to also buy insurance. You have to spend money. And life's always like that. We have to give up sort of thing in order to get other things. And this play around that happens between our personalities, it's what I try to define in this prismatic identity. So in this way, what I want to say that prismatic identity is always gray. That's why most part of the times and the most of my paintings, we have a background in gray colors, or it's a very dull color. If it's a green, it's going to be a very dull green, whatever color it is, right? So that's why first color that comes in mind when I think about prismatic identity is gray. We have too many shades. It's like 50 shades of gray of the prismatic identity. I know, catchy, I don't know, but for me it does make sense. We have so much that comes around to play when things comes on our lives, all the variables that we have to calculate. So this is what I try to talk about. It's not to try to fix a path or try to say, oh, you should go here, you should do this. This is not the main goal for this series, but it's to raise questions about how many choices and how many things we have to give up or we have to embrace in order to live the life that we want to live. And sometimes those choices, those marks, they don't go away easily, right? It's something that you have to live, like it's a grief sometimes when you have to give up of some things you want to do in order to conquer others. It could be a sad way to think about prismatic identity, but actually that's just how life it is for all of us. We are always trying to live the lives that we want to, right? So, which detail, technical, like brush strokes, texture, light, it's better translate these ideas in your actual work. So, with prismatic identity specifically, I want to work on something that was very energetic and very straightforward when it comes to painting. So I didn't want to do many layers or try to develop something very intricate, because I also believe that in this kind of series that I have now, I'm trying to make more real, not real, but I'm trying to make more about feelings, about things that comes to our life, and we need to figure it out as fast as it can. Choices that we don't have many time to deal with. So these all are things that when we have to make our choices, it comes to this point, right? The urgency of things sometimes. That's why I heavily work with hard brushes, because they give us lots of textures. And those kind of textures, it's a kind of way for also to represent the choices and the ways, the paths that we have to do or to deal with in our life. So an energetic way to paint with lots of textures is my choice for this work, for this body of work, right? And one thing that I like to mention is that the paint itself, it starts at the very moment that I buy the canvas and I have to prepare it. Just so sometimes I do more textures underneath it. Then I go with acrylic and start build up layers with oil paintings, whatever. It depends of each of the painting that I'm working. So that's the time that the job really starts to pick. And that's the time when I see a lot of this identity into the canvas. So I know that I'm on the right track with lots of textures and lots of stories. So maybe next. Do you remember when you realize the power of having several colors within you? So what I can say is we always have different colors within us. We're always trying to adapt ourselves in different life situations. So when you're around with your friends, you have a way to talk, you have a way to live, you have a way to share your moments with them. But it's not the same when you're working on your 9-to-5 job, or if you're have a more professional relationship, or a romantic relationship is always also not the same when you're having lunch with your friends. So all those colors, all those moments, they define who you are. So that's when I realized that we cannot take for granted whatever we know about ourselves at this very point of our lives, because everything can change. And we change so much through life, and we learn so much about like how to be a better human, how to be more mindfulness about ourselves, about our body, about relationship with others. This is the kind of shades of colors that we have inside us. And when I realized that and how important that's for us to play in this different point of view, it was there in that moment that I knew that I had something to talk about. People sometimes don't realize how this is important, because we have the tendency to believe that we are like this, and sometimes there is no other way for us to live a different life or do different things or believe in different things, have different attitudes, because we always have been done things like that. And this is the main thing that I want to say and to invite my viewers to experiment. Be mindful about your choices and be mindful about you, and also just forgive yourself. Whatever you do, if you're not happy, there is always a time for a second chance, and you should be the one giving you a second chance. Okay, next. How the vibrant colors get along with themes like health, especially talking about diabetes. All right, so this is some articulations and that I do in my painting when I try to merge very bright colors. And it doesn't matter really when you're a painter, whatever kind of art you do, how bright you want to go, which colors you want to use, right? What matters is how you're able to make that colors cohese and play around together in a sense of harmony. And this is the part that I try to manipulate my painting style and my painting and my elements and my painting to give that overall feeling of a whole complete painting. So I start usually with the gray background, because this is what makes other colors pop more. But when colors don't talk to each other, so I have to use like filters and manage the hue of the color that I'm trying to insert in those paintings, so it talks more with the gray colors that I add. Also, if we're using gray colors on the background to represent like things like the prismatic identity, is like a gray area in our life, it doesn't really matter if you're using vibrant colors on the painting, because you can easily manage that with less saturated color. So it's easier for you to control when you're also playing with muted color, which is the gray in my case. It doesn't mean that all my prismatic identity painting is going to be gray somewhere. It means that the environment of the painting, which is the background that I call, which is it can be in any other colors, and with the background in mind, which I tend to believe in this collection of painting, that the background is not only the painting background itself, where the subject will be there, but also the background that the situation or whatever I'm trying to represent comes into your life, right? So the background is also something that you believed in the past, something that happens to you, some experience. So this is what I use for my background. Not only about myself, also it's important to consider a different background when I talk about other things and other people, because I'm trying also to represent their stories, right? Okay, so next question. If you could leave a message to the viewer that's in my paintings, what message should be? So I know and I get it, sometimes it's hard to understand at the first glance what the artist meant when you see the piece. I'm trying to use elements and talking about my paintings, so it's easier when someone sees my painting to understand what I meant. But I also believe that's important for the artist to communicate the idea behind the piece, because sometimes we know we are artists and things in our heads can be kind of different to put in an easier way for people to understand. So I try to make my painting as easy to understand as possible. But I get it, that's important as well for artists to talk about their pieces and make more accessible, because it's hard to understand what exactly is passing on the other people's mind, and with painting, with arts like that, if you're not very clear on your intentions, you're not going to have a very clear image base to document that intention, right? For me, the message that I want to stay with the viewer is that you're okay to be who you are, and being someone that have lots of paths in the life or passions that I want to follow, and that leads to many ways. It's totally fine, and we also need to celebrate that we are living in a way that we can make those choices for us. We have the ability to pick whatever is good to us. So it's not about just seeing life to go on and crucifying yourself if you did something that is messing up with your now moment or whatever comes to the future. But it's also about respecting that you're a human and you learn on your life day by day, and you always can make mistakes, but always there's a second chance for you to start again, and if you want to, just make peace with yourself.